Let's do this. Oh, crap. I keep doing that. I keep messing up and letting the background crap play.
It's okay.
How's it going, Jenna?
It's going pretty good. How are you, Ethan?
I'm doing well. One of these days, we'll get that intro just right. This morning, Jenna texted me. It's like, "Can you be on a few minutes early?" And it's like, I think it was like 10:30, 10:35, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I literally just woke up, so I'm like running around the house like a madman. Like my face is just like, like just smashed.
Pillow face.
Yeah. So, but it was a long, good night. We did a 2.5-hour stream last night. Kenneth, Leonard, Brainbug, and myself reviewed The Atheist Religion. And I got to say, I didn't think we were going to make it through the entire thing, but we did. Like, we really rushed through. There was so much more we could have addressed that we didn't have time to address. But one of my takeaways from that show was it was so nice to see atheists and Christians agree that movie was not reliable.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Jenna, how was your week? What's going on with you?
Oh, I don't know. I don't even know, honestly. I'm doing a lot of streaming. I'm doing my meditations in the morning, and I'm doing atheostasis again, and I'm doing carrot noises and this and AXP today. So I'm doing a lot.
Ooh, I'll be your call screener today, Jenna.
Heck yeah!
Yeah.
Oh my god, awesome! This is gonna be a good show.
Yeah, it's I'm pretty excited. And sorry, who did you say your co-host was gonna be?
It'll be Matt today.
Oh, okay. Sweet. That's gonna be a good show. I know what I'll be doing.
Yeah.
It's funny. I should have started volunteering a long time ago, because I would watch both Talk Heathen and AXP, and while it is nice to just like watch and not have to engage in other ways, at the same time, it's like, hey, I can watch and help out. Why not?
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't know that it would have been very easy to volunteer before this pandemic happened, because it was the pandemic that caused us to go all virtual and start reaching out to people who aren't necessarily in Austin. Because before that, it was pretty much just an Austin community thing.
Yeah.
But now it's branching out a little.
So I would actually like to request a favor from our audience. So I was talking to Jenna before we went live, and I'm all excited because all I need is 15 more subscribers and I'll be monetized. I didn't know Jenna wasn't monetized. She has the subscribers, but she doesn't have the watch hours. So here's how you can help Jenna get monetized. If you're sitting at home, or if you're doing nothing, or even if you're doing something, go to Jenna Belk's YouTube channel, click one of her videos. If you're unable to listen, turn the volume down. Let the video play through. If her subscribers did this, or if any of you can help do this, she will get monetized much faster. Every watch hour counts. So please subscribe to Jenna Belk and start watching as much of it as possible.
Thanks. I didn't think...
Sorry, should I not have done that?
That's interesting. I never thought of that.
One of my friends was like, just so you know, like, I don't like atheist content at all, but I want to support you. So I watch your videos and I just turn them on silent. And I was like, hey, you know what? It helps. That's fine with me.
Yeah. If you support me and you want to help me, then that's a really good way for my videos to get out there so that more people can find them, so that I can grow. But to be fair, I mean, my channel is consistently growing. Like, I'm getting a new subscriber consistently. So it's not like my stuff is really bad. So,
no, it's
I'm just being this like crazy person that's like, well, but it just feels really dishonest. But I mean, it's
so I get where you're going, and I understand that can kind of seem like cheating in a way, but at the same time, here's how I think about it. Like, the friend who said she mutes my stuff has also come to me and be like, hey, I saw when you said this and this. So clearly, even though she's muting my content most of the time, she is still apparently listening to my content sometimes. And that's important. And Jenna, before we get into our topic, mental health and art, there was something I wanted to talk to you about.
Mm-hmm.
I longed for the day when I would finally get to change someone's mind and someone would become an atheist as a result of something I said. Well, recently, I was speaking with someone and she had informed me that she is now questioning her faith. Yay! I was excited, right?
Right.
And then she told me it's tearing her apart. And my stomach sunk. And I was like, dude, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to cause you pain. She's like,
Right.
it's not your fault. The problem is sometimes you say things that really make sense and it pisses me off. So I try to not think about it because it's hard for me. So I don't want to go too much into it. But I feel bad, man. I don't want to be the reason anybody hurts. However, on the flip side, my friend had made a point to me. He's like, well, he's like, you didn't put religion there. You didn't put God there. Someone else did. And therefore, it's not your fault.
Right. Well, if you think about, teachers make their students do homework. They're making them hurt. They nobody likes doing homework,
No,
but it's a suffering that's worth it. It's a growing pain, I guess. It hurts. It does hurt initially, but as time goes on, I think that she'll come to thank you. I truly think so.
I hope.
Because yes, this kind of thing, I mean, it does hurt at first, but then you get used to it and you start learning the things that you feel like you're missing and filling gaps and controlling your own life and feeling really independent. And then you're feeling really strong. And then, I don't know, it's all uphill from here.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
Because while I do want more atheists, I definitely don't want more people struggling.
I don't necessarily want more atheists. I just want more thinkers.
There we go. Skeptics. Better answer.
No, I mean, I think that skeptic is even asking too much right now.
Really?
I do. I just want people to start thinking. That's all I want. Like, even if you're thinking about the wrong things, think about them, because it takes thinking about them in order for them to change.
It does. And the atheist or skeptic community, whatever you want to call it, has this year specifically had a profound impact on me. Especially one of those people being Puck, because that dude questions everything. Like, I'll just be like, I enjoy my Samsung phone. Why do you enjoy it? It's really about this Samsung device.
Right.
It makes you like it the most. How did you determine and rule out all other devices to prove that your Samsung device was indeed superior to all other models? And in doing so, how do you even know these are your actual feelings? Like, like, dude, I just said I like the cell phone more, man. That's it. But I'm glad we have people that do that, because it's forced me to think about things that I don't actually think about, where I'll go to people like him or Kenneth and Best Name, and I'll be like, hey, I'll ask them a question. And they'll be like, you're not asking the wrong question. Why aren't you asking this? You're wondering this. And I'm like, I didn't even think about that.
See, that's the reason. So Kate, I love you, Katie. I feel like skepticism is the bare minimum. Okay, so I get the sentiment, and I get it. After you've been around skeptics for a little while, it does seem like the bare minimum to ask. But it takes practice. It takes exposure. It takes a lot of effort to be a skeptic, because it is a very unnatural thing. It is very unnatural to be a skeptic.
And it can be hard to constantly force yourself to analyze and think about every little thing. But to me, it's paramount to your own mind. Like, if I would have never stopped being a Republican if I didn't force myself to ask these questions that I should have been asking. And to me, like, skepticism is like a great base model. Like, where was I going with this? Meaning, like, I don't know.
Skeptic base model.
That thought's just gone. Crap.
That's okay. Yes, V's How to Skeptic. So I invited V on to be on the Atheistasis, and they were on, I think, like the third episode that I did. And I they took journalist classes, I think. Got a journalism degree.
Okay.
Something. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I know that they studied that. And got the idea to do their own show called How to Skeptic, because I had asked them, well, how do we know anything? How do we know? So when you go back to the beginning, I recommend that podcast to learn how to skeptic, because it, like we said, it does take practice. Now we are completely off topic today.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I just noticed that.
We really should have called it the ADHD show.
Right? Well, it says Ethan and Jenna, that spells ADHD right there. Well, okay, so art, mental health and art. Do you do art?
I guess it depends on the type of art. If we're specifically saying like drawing things, painting, anything like that, no. However, I do believe humor and entertainment is a form of art.
Absolutely.
So in that fashion, yes. And entertainment and humor, as we know based on last week's episode, contributes a great deal to my mental health overall. It can take me from being really down and really low to being just happy and goofy again.
Well, this video producing counts as art.
Ooh, that's
what we're doing here. So, I mean, how does that make you feel?
Oh, I do. I love doing this.
I mean, it's fun, right? It's
yeah, like Captain America says, I could do this all day. Like, I love doing it.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is art isn't just paintbrushes. Right. Art is cooking. Art can be language. Art is culture. Art is fashion. Art is, interior design. Art is landscaping. Art is everywhere. Humor, TV, singing. There's so many different ways.
And like for me, like, let me shed a little bit on the entertainment side of my art. There, like, I learned how to be an entertainer from watching wrestling. Wrestling psychology is, which I know most people are like, wait, wrestling psychology, what's that? It is the art of knowing how to tell and control a story through a wrestling match or through a promotion. You'll see some wrestlers who they'll talk and you're just like, okay. And then other ones, you're sitting there like on the edge of your seat. And that's what I learned to do, and why, like, when I am on stage, I am like a really good and fun entertainer, because I know what to say, when to say it. It's the timing. It's knowing when to take your audience, bring them up, and then pull them right here and then go back up. It takes so much time and practice. But when you put me on a stage, it's like all my problems, anything I'm stressed about slips away. And I know how to grab that audience and just pull them in. And it's so much fun to do that. Like, cool. Entertainment in many ways is a lost art. I'll watch these MCs or people like trying to open a show, and I'm just sitting here like frustrated, like, guys, this is not how you talk to an audience. There's so much to it. It's fun, it's engaging, it's awesome, but it truly is a lost art. People think you could just go on stage with a speech and talk, and no, it's so much more in depth than that. You have to know how to read your entire audience. Even if you can't see their faces, you have to feel oh God, here I go into feelings. You have to feel the emotion in the room. Now, to be clear, I know there is, like, when I can read the audience or feel like the type of mood they're in, I know there's something going on there that I'm picking up on that I'm not aware of. But the only way I know how to currently describe it is feeling.
Well, but it's when you say reading, it's kind of like when they say reading between the lines, that's not woo. That's looking for the story behind the words. And so when you're reading an audience, it's, for example, listening. When you hear dead silence, your audience is paying attention.
Right.
When you hear a lot of shifting
Support.
and whispering and people getting up and leaving, you're losing them. And so that is a way, reading is just a word to use to describe something that we don't have another word for, I guess.
Right. And, and that's the other thing, engaging with your audience. This is where a lot of people start to fail. They may, at immediate face value, be able to rile people up. But the second someone from the audience says something, all of a sudden they can switch the mood because they don't know what to do. There are different ways. Like, let's say you have a heckler. There's 10 different ways you could handle that heckler, but there may only be one or two where you can come out on top without hurting that person or attacking that person. And that's key. Is there's just so much that goes into it. It also goes into communicating and understanding the individual.
Well, so there's just different aspects of art. There's the understanding of it. For example, just to give a little bit clearer example, say chess. Chess is an art. There's strategy behind it. There's ways. I don't know how to describe it. When there are ways to manipulate something that creates emotion versus a different way that doesn't create emotion. Does that make any sense at all?
I'm actually having a little trouble following you on that one.
So I guess art, I'm trying to find a way to how I would define art. Art creates emotion.
Right.
And you're manipulating something, whether it's a board game or a dance floor or a paintbrush. You're manipulating something in a way that creates emotion versus a way that doesn't create emotion.
Okay, that makes sense.
I don't know.
You had brought up. Wait, we actually have a caller, but before we get to our caller, you had brought up chess and chess being an art, and I've enjoyed chess. I haven't played it in a while. Well, I had asked our mutual friend Puck if he was interested, and he's just like, well, you wouldn't stand.
I'm just a badass,
actually. And that's what's funny is some people be like, he's bragging, and I'm like, no, he's actually just being dead serious. Like, I will actually play you blindfolded I'll play you without even looking at it while I'm driving and doing Uber. I'm like, that's not possible. He's like, tell me the moves and I will still be able to beat you. Like, how do you memorize a chessboard while you're driving and know the other person, like remember all the moves as someone tells you? Like that's incredibly fascinating to me. Yeah. And by the way, before we take our caller, we got two. I do want to say hi to everyone in our audience. IQ, Hannah, Fran, Oz,
Katie,
Why Pestis, Katie,
Kyle,
Kate,
Ed.
Cindy. I think that's everyone.
Stephanie, Mitch.
If I missed you, I'm sorry. But all right, let's
Brian. Brian.
Thank you.
Brian.
It looks like Harry, and Harry wants to talk about how society. It's hard to. Hey, are you there, Harry?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I am here.
So the auto screener didn't pick up what you were trying to say. What did you want to talk about?
Well, it intrigued me a little bit because I actually used to work as a creative person, shall we say. I used to be a model maker before 3D printers. And great career, paid real crap, but I enjoyed it.
Okay.
And now it's like, yeah, I was just thrown away by society. And I'll make art now, and sometimes it's just hard to do it because it's going to sit on a wall or go to a landfill. It's always in the back of your head.
Wow.
Yeah. But, and I don't want to diss people who are in digital arts or or computer arts. But pre them, there were people that did that work. You know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just find that a lot of people just don't seem to appreciate what goes into things.
No, that's
It's like, you know,
true. I don't think they always. Some people don't always realize the how much goes into something. And
Yeah.
I think that goes, that can go, with anything. Like, for example, when Jenna and I had talked about humor last week, and I had like pointed out all these detailed things to both Kenneth and Jenna, and they were not aware of how much time I put into humor or something as simple as like this small status. And if you're not aware of it, how can you appreciate it if you don't even know everything that's involved?
Right.
That goes to a lot of things. I mean, it's like anytime somebody's wearing jewelry, one person can just wear whatever's at the dollar store versus another person cares a lot about what kind of jewelry they put on, I think it just, it kind of depends on the person. Everybody's got their own little, what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Isms. I don't know.
Also, too, just to put in there, I'm saying from the creative person's aspect tends to almost like, this is what I find. I can do fabulous art, but sometimes I don't, because it puts me actually into a kind of a funk.
When you say art, are you sorry, did you say like do you paint? Do you draw? What type of art are you referring to?
Okay. I build things.
Cool.
So like, okay. As a career before, like I actually built, like, if anyone remembers like the Real Hero action figures, I did prototypes of those things, toys.
Ooh, that's yeah.
You're a toy maker.
And then yeah, and so now it's like so I'll sit here and it's like, okay, I'm going to bust out the clay. I'm going to make this fabulous sculpture or this mechanical thing. And then it's just like, you put it on the shelf and everyone goes, oh, I guess that's cute, and, but here's my dollar store thing and, whatever, or make this for me here. I'll give you $1.
Oh, man.
And it really, really dampens the whole urge to just do it.
Yeah, I can see that. That's heartbreaking. So I guess that would be where I would, oh man, that would break my heart if people just didn't even recognize my art as time consuming or worthy at all, like worth more than $1. But at the same time, it's, for example, like when I like to crochet. So I like to make blankets. And when you make a blanket by hand, it takes a very long time, and yarn is not cheap. Oh, yeah. So, for example, the baby blanket I'm making, I didn't realize it until I calculated it all out, but I've spent about $80 just on the yarn.
Really?
For this blanket. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you want to add the days that I spend on the couch doing it. If I were to sell this blanket, it would be worth hours and hours of my time. So this would probably be like $1,000, $2,000 blanket at least. Would anybody spend that much on a baby blanket? Not many people.
Probably not.
No. So it's horrible when you make this piece of art and you put all this time into it, and it's just not worth it. People just don't want to spend the money on it.
Right.
It's sad.
It is.
So I feel you. I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, it's not even to say, oh, pity me kind of thing, but it's like I noticed there's this when you talk to people, it's just like like you were saying, they don't realize what goes into things.
Mm-hmm.
And for the creative person who's yeah, I could do this, and I'm going to spend that $80 and spend this time for blank,
Mm-hmm.
To do whatever. And then it's like, okay, been there, done that. Am I going to get up in the morning and do that again? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I would like to see, is there a site I could go to see some of the stuff you've made?
I really don't know. I could probably send you a whole bunch of pictures or something like that, but I'm not really. I'm kind of like the last analog man on the planet. My old man, right, was a tool maker for IBM back in the day of vacuum tubes.
Ooh.
And he told me as a kid, he said, we're never going to have a computer in this house. And he was true to his word.
But why?
And it took me till almost the 2000s before I actually got my hands on a computer.
Wow.
So I'm way behind the curve on digital stuff.
Okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
I was fortunate. We had a first computer in the house when I was 5 years old. So I started playing at a very young age. And then once I was 7 or 8 when my mom got us our own computer, because originally it was just my grandma's. Do you want to know the first thing I did? I broke it. Why? Because I needed to take it apart and see what it looked like.
Hey, you were 8.
Yeah. So my mom was not happy. She had to pay to get it fixed. She brings it back, and a couple of weeks later, what did I do? Well, the computer didn't have a sound card, and I needed sound. So I got one. I opened the computer up and put it in, and it didn't work. And I broke the computer again. And keep in mind, my family was not we did not have money. So this was a big deal. They were livid. And she's like, you're going to sit here and figure this out, fix this until you figure it out. I figured it out. And that's pretty much how I learned to fix computers, is just by getting in trouble from breaking them all the time.
Man, I actually broke a computer. I was about that age probably, by taking a magnet and running it across and being like, ooh, pretty colors. And just kind of. It's
for me, because I think this plays also into my skepticism or the way my brain works. And here's what I mean. In order for me to work on something, I need to understand something. So for instance, if you just tell me to go change the brakes on my car and follow this video, I won't be able to do it. I need to know, okay, what is this? Why does it work like that? I have to be able to understand the components and everything I'm changing. Once I understood all the parts involved, then all of a sudden it clicks. I know how to do it. But until I understand everything, it doesn't work. To me, this goes also into a lot of these, and I don't want to go too far off base, but a lot of these religious arguments, they don't make sense to me. And that's why I think I can't always refute them, because I hear them and I'm like, I just don't
can't put these dots together.
No,
yeah.
You're just grabbing all these random things here.
Right.
They don't line up in this order. They don't go from here to here correctly. And because they don't, I have no way to break it down, because it's not making sense to me.
Right. That makes sense.
Sorry for getting off the topic on you there, Harry.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Well, it says here you want to talk about how, we are talking about that, how society underappreciates.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit. I mean, I don't know really much if it's a gripping subject to say, you know what I mean?
Well, there's just so many different kinds of art. There's just so many different things to talk about, because even if we just do that, just naming different kinds of art, because I think that art is underrated, like you said.
Absolutely.
And it's essential. It is a part of life that you need, physically, emotionally, mentally. And so if you can learn to identify it in different parts of your life and look at it in a more artistic way, then you can realize that you have art all around you, and appreciate it, and it can completely change your mental health.
Yeah.
Well,
one of my recent projects, and I don't know if either of you guys ever heard of Doradongos, or it's Japanese. It translates to shiny dumpling, and really all it is a polished dirt ball. It's wild. Look it up.
Interesting.
And so I'm trying to do all 50 states, dirt from all 50 states kind of thing. So
that's funny. And so like the shot glasses.
Yeah. And it's really easy to do. So if you want something meditative, just
yeah, that's fun.
Harry, I want to thank you for calling in. We do have a couple other callers, but is there anything else you wanted to touch base on before we let you go?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Thank you for calling and bringing that up, because that's a really, really important point.
Yeah.
Thank you, Harry. Enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to check out Jenna on AXP later today.
And happy holidays.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. All
that jazz. Merry non-Christmas. Merry everything.
I'm curious. So recently I had someone said to me that they actually get an atheist gets a little upset when they have someone says Merry Christmas to them. And I understand where they're going. Mm-hmm. I don't care. Like, you can say Merry Christmas to me, but I do think it's important that we recognize, other people's beliefs. So for example, let's say I'm a Christian and Jenna is an atheist. Her asking me not to say Merry Christmas to her is not an attack on Christianity. It's just being a respectful human being and recognizing that not everyone celebrates Merry Christmas.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like a PC thing. Like, I used to think that it was, we just have to be politically correct. Well, it's not like that. It's more about caring about people's feelings.
Exactly.
And some people get triggered by thinking about anything religious, and Christmas can be a religious term if you want to look at it that way. And it can trigger some people. So I just say happy holidays to get all of it, not just to be PC.
I mean, and think about it, how many of these people who say, I'm going to acknowledge, I'm only going to acknowledge Christmas. How would they feel if we were like, hey, happy Hanukkah to you? They'd probably be like, excuse me?
Well, so before we go on to the next caller, I kind of wanted to bring up those two artists that I told you about before the stream.
Oh, yeah. Let me
they're so not only creating art yourself, but looking at it and going and observing it. Gerard Richter. So Gerard Richter is a painter. To be honest, I don't know much about these gentlemen. I just know what their art looks like, and I'm very familiar with what their art looks like, because I just think it is absolutely gorgeous. Gerard Richter is a bit more, I think expressionist is the word.
Ooh, those are really cool.
Isn't that beautiful? I just love the textures and I love the colors. And to me, that just makes me feel really happy. I could just sit and stare at these paintings for hours.
They are really nice.
And have fun. Look at that one. That's one of my favorites.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It's beautiful.
I love it. And then there's another artist. He's a longer favorite of mine. He's been a favorite of mine for years. Is Leonard Afremov. This is, again, the colors, the texture, it is just brilliant. I just absolutely love this artist. So I just wanted to recommend these to you guys personally, to check out, because I just love it. They make me very happy.
There is one confusing side to art, or one part of art where I found it to be a little weird, and maybe you could explain it to me.
Sure.
I remember as a kid going to an art museum, and the person, or what's it called? The person that talks about all the art.
Orator? I don't know.
Okay. So she goes into this 10-minute, and the artist was thinking this, and I'm just staring at it like, is she serious right now? All it was a big white sheet of paper with one singular dot in the center.
Mm-hmm.
And she has this long explanation of what the artist was thinking and all this. And I'm like, dude, it's a dot. Like in my mind, I'm picturing this famous artist like, all right, let me see what I can get away with here. And just going like, boop, guys, look at my masterpiece here. Everyone's like, oh, like it's a dot, man. That's it, a friggin' dot. So what am I missing?
What, to add on to that, there's some wealthy houses in some surrounding neighborhoods near my house, and one of them has these 3 structures that you can see from a very, very, very good distance away, and they're like just red and blue, like they look like stick figures, or like those air balloon things, but like they're stationary. And that this art is just worth so much money to be at this person's front yard, at their front lawn. And I don't understand that stuff. But the fact is, even if take a famous artist that everybody thinks everybody just loves their art, say Picasso, right? Okay. I don't particularly enjoy looking at Picasso paintings.
How come? You just don't like them, or is there
I just don't get anything out of them. I think that they're interesting, but I can go to a bookstore and find plenty more interesting things, and that's or a library, and that's free. I just don't get much out of it. To be honest, a couple of my own paintings, I get more out of looking at them. And it's just because I put on the canvas what I like. And so that's what that artist did, is they put on the canvas what they like, what meant something to them. And if somebody wants to spend a crap load of money on that, I don't understand it, but that's how art is. Like, art is not an easy thing to understand.
That's true.
It is literally it is so subjective.
Oh, absolutely.
So, like, I could say this piece of art that I just, like, for example, this piece of art behind me, I did it in one day for my birthday this past year. I could just say, oh, well, but it took me like 10 minutes. Didn't take but $10 worth of materials. It's worth $50 max, right?
Right.
Somebody else could come up and say, I would pay you $10,000 for that.
That's true, because
I'd be like, I don't know why, but sure, it's just so subjective.
Right. Do you want to get to our next caller?
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have Zeke. Zeke wants to talk about mental health and art and share their opinions. How are you today, Zeke?
Hello, Zeke.
I'm doing good. It's Zeke, but it's okay.
Oh, Zeke?
With an S.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay. It's fine. I wanted to talk about particularly mental health in combination. I know that's the subject,
Yeah.
but in combination with art, and how my mental health kind of develops my art. Like it's a process, but for instance, I have bipolar, which is mania and depression.
Yeah.
I'm medicated right now. Huh?
I'm sorry. I'm actively.
Please continue.
Yeah, I'm taking medication right now, so everything's okay for the most part. But I do character illustrations, and I like to write stories and kind of build worlds. And in my art, I do little characters, and I put stories behind them, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, but it's really therapeutic for me.
Is it as easy to create these characters and stories when you're on your medication as when you're off?
When I'm off medication, it's kind of harder.
It's harder. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, because it's medication kind of like, it doesn't take away my mania. It lowers it a little bit. So that way I have some, because mania causes hyper creativity. And I told my doctor that I didn't want to take that creativity away. I didn't want to become like a zombie or something like that.
Right.
And he understood that, and he was like, well, yeah, I see your art, and I think this is really cool. And he gave me the chance to, you know, kind of express myself, kind of go crazy, you know, not in a sense like fully crazy, but kind of that free will to let my mania kind of push me a little bit to do this stuff. And as far as depression goes, like when I'm down, after I get over the humps, because I know it gets really hard. That in itself can be expressed too in different characters.
So you're saying after the depression, you like to. Sorry, I was just trying to clarify.
Yeah,
You're saying after the depression is when you like to.
I'm sorry. During depressions, I can't do anything. I'm down.
Right.
I don't have any energy. I've suicidal thoughts, all types of stuff. And
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's when, like, after that hump happens that I'm able to express what I learned from my experience and express that.
Yeah.
And then re-look at it like later on down the line and look back at it and be like, it's like is it a necessary evil? I don't know, but I just grow from my experience. I become stronger. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's a good way to look at it. To accept what's already is.
How are you holding up right now?
I'm fine. I have slight depression right now. Not at this instance. I'm happy talking and everything like that. But like I said, I'm taking my medication. So right now I feel stable, and I'm content with where I am, and I'm really at my most happy when I finish project or listen to music or something like that.
So have you created anything recently? What kind of art do you like to create?
Yeah, I created what was the last image? I had a goddess. I made a picture of a goddess.
Ooh, what kind of goddess?
It's a fictional story of it's a goddess that was born, like, it always existed, and she's kind of playful. She's kind of I want to call her a goddess of love, but she plays around with human beings and she's kind of like Loki a little bit.
I love Loki.
She's a goddess that was a part of our history, or she's a goddess you've created?
I created.
Cool. See, that's the other part, is you get to create anything. I love that. I love it.
Yeah. But the fun part is just creating the lore. Like I plan to eventually, like I thought about this recently, to create a lore book. And just like have my creations and then write stories about it and then put it all together.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a cool collaboration.
Yeah, a lot, because I'm trying to. Huh?
Sounds like a cool, like, collaboratory opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you could get a whole bunch of people, like you could ask a bunch of friends and reach out and get a whole bunch of really good people together and create a story. Your story.
Yeah. I never thought about it that way, though. I was a loner, so.
Okay, you can do whatever you want.
Another artist, though.
Yeah,
it could be.
That would work.
Could be helpful.
Have you ever thought of publishing?
Yeah. I would like to. Like when I was younger, I wanted to get published by Disney, but it's kind of hard.
Yeah,
that's a pretty high goal. Maybe we should start with like a smaller goal.
Yeah, but you could start somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanted.
It would be cool if I get published, though. But the more important part is just me creating, I guess.
Yes.
Right.
But yeah, if I get published, that would be excellent. And
yeah.
More people can share my work, and I can meet more people and stuff.
Oh yeah.
To be able to be paid for your art.
I also, like, kind of, I was I guess, quite lucky then, because for several years, when I was DJing and entertaining, I was getting paid for it. And I was like, that was such a good feeling, like being able to full time get paid for something I loved doing, which, if in case it's no secret, obviously that's what I'm trying to do now. And while that's not my primary goal, it's of course a goal, because who wouldn't want to do what you love for a living?
Well, the fact is that this form of art takes a lot of back work. Like, it's not just something that you can just create and then leave. It takes a lot of build up. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of collaborating. It takes a lot of work. And so in order to be successful at it, you have to have a lot of time on your hands. And it's really hard to do that when you have a full-time job and a life. And so making it a full-time job and not asking for millions of dollars, but enough to live off of, makes it possible. So that's why we keep doing this and promoting Patreon when we can, because that gives us the opportunity to be able to keep doing this, because eventually you run out of energy. So
you do, but that's why we are fortunate to be in an awesome and supportive community who,
yes.
I think I could speak for Jenna here. Please let me know if I'm incorrect, that all of you are responsible for us being here, and your continued help and volunteering and engaging in the chats and sharing our videos. Our success is dependent on other people, and we're grateful for it. Sorry, I'm grateful for it.
The callers too.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yes. Seek, we do have several other callers lined up, so we have to jump off this call, but I appreciate the time you took to call in. And is there anything else you wanted to close with?
No, just thank you guys for the stuff that you do. It helps me a lot. That's all.
Thank you.
That's exactly why we're doing it. So thank you.
Keep creating your stories. I hope that something gets out there soon. I hope to find it in the bookstore someday.
Thank
all
you,
right,
Seek.
cool.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to just jump right into the next one. We've got Dan. Dan, you're on with Ethan and Jenna, and it looks like you wanted to. The auto screener says you want to talk about metal, but
Mental health.
We don't want to talk about it. Dan?
Hello?
Hey.
Hi.
Hello? Hi. No, I didn't. I think that you were misunderstood. What I wanted to talk about was mental health.
Yes, we were teasing.
Right.
It just changed it to metal.
But I also wanted to touch on a point that doesn't get brought up very often, I think, which is that I think it's so important to remember that what we now call art had to be liberated in the Middle Ages by the Enlightenment. And what I mean by that is, I think we forget that in the Middle Ages, if you were just an ordinary person who wanted to experience, say, music, your only option was to go to church.
Mm.
Really?
If you wanted,
At that time, yeah.
yes, for the most part, if you wanted to feel, the exultant power of painting or sculpture or any of those things, all of that was really incumbent upon the church for the most part. And so, with the rise of the Enlightenment, with the rise of Elizabethan theater, with all of that, with secularism, art was really freed and able. This is why I make the argument that Beethoven is as much a problem for the Christian church as Darwin.
I haven't heard that.
Well, again, if you wanted, there was a time when musicians, were pretty, and artists and sculptors and so forth, they all pretty much worked for the church.
Right.
Only they were the only ones who could afford to pay them.
Right.
And so once artists were able to find patrons outside the church, and once they were able to really pursue their own visions, and once literacy became more universal, it opened things up in ways that they never could have before.
Yeah. So what time period was this? Like 1600s? 17?
I would say again, well, different historians, debate when the Enlightenment began. I tend to go with Voltaire, with about the 15th, 16th century. But that, so, again, when you look at the last 500 years, when you think about the things we have now compared to what they had back then, and frankly, artists are freer now than they've ever been in history.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Well, we can sell. That's the thing. Like I have carrot noises. I have a stream that I do on Fridays where I paint, and I was able to sell a piece of art through that. I mean, that kind of thing would not have happened so many years ago. It's crazy where we've come.
And I also wanted to touch on a point you made earlier, Jenna, which was you said you don't really care for the paintings of Picasso.
Right. I appreciate them and I respect him as an artist. I just don't get anything out of it.
Well, I wasn't gonna pick on you. I was
okay.
Really going to say that it's been said that great art belongs in museums and good art belongs in homes. People who understand art better than I do have said that the value of somebody like Picasso or Renoir or Rembrandt or Monet or so forth is not merely in their work, but the fact that you can look at the history of art and you can see, well, the reason why we have what we have now is because of this and because of this and because of this. Any screenwriter in Hollywood will, if they know what they're talking about, will say, yes, of course, I wouldn't be able to do what I do were it not for Shakespeare.
Right.
But,
whether you like Shakespeare or not.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm a writer, and I can tell you that the sort of like the basic 3-act structure of every story, whether it's War and Peace or an episode of Seinfeld, goes back to Aristotle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so again, whether you were to say, well, I'm not really a fan of Aristotle, I don't really care for Aristotelian drama, I'd be like, okay, then you don't really like anything that's been done in the last 2,000 years.
So is it just the fact that it's survived that long?
Well, I've often, as a writer, I appreciate the fact that I think we as human beings are what I call a narrative species. And what I mean by that is we tell stories just as a part of who we are. I think this is why the Bible has held the power that it's held for so long, and why the fact that we now tell other stories has sort of forced it to become increasingly less relevant. I know people get mad at me for saying this, but I personally think that Christmas Carol by Dickens is far more edifying in terms of teaching morals than really anything in the New Testament. Just personal opinion. I still love watching. As a matter of fact, my favorite version of that movie is on YouTube for free. The 1950 odd version with Alistair Sim.
Oh, cool.
But no, I think that there is a history to these things that I just don't think a lot of people really appreciate, and I'm glad you do. Again, you don't have to love Picasso to understand that his contribution influenced later generations. So, which is why we have, he was a huge influence on Salvador Dali and on, many a film director and so on and so forth. So.
Right. The fact that I'm able to look at a canvas and have this image in my head of what I'm trying to create has been created because of all of the pieces of art that I've already seen and gathered and learned from and been able to collect whatever it was that, struck me. And so I've said this before, I'm a collection of everything and everyone that I've ever come across before. And so having seen Picasso, having seen so many different kinds of artists has probably created whatever kind of artist I am today.
I completely agree with that. I got into this argument one day with somebody who was a fellow writer who said that they were striving for perfection. And I said, perfection is the worst possible goal for an artist. And he said, what do you mean? Yeah. And I said, well, imagine a museum dedicated to perfection. What would it look like? It would be filled entirely with blank canvases.
Yeah.
Because of course, and of course the curator, would have to answer the question. Well, you'd go in and say, well, what's the point of this? And the curator would say,
well, what's more perfect than a completely blank canvas? Why would you ruin it with paint?
Yeah.
And
Right.
so you can't have perfect. So so I think that the artist isn't seeking perfection, but to the main point, I really think that to a large extent, art is both therapeutic and sort of says out loud what a lot of us are feeling and thinking.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just one quick example. The greatest play ever written, Hamlet, was written by Shakespeare after he lost his only son, whose name was Hamnet.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Jenna, I'm actually really glad we did this topic because just Dan, I'm learning a lot from you as well.
Yeah. I hope you call again. Please.
So when Jenna had first suggested art to me, I had thought I don't know that I can contribute, or I don't know how much I can learn from this, but dude, I'm learning a lot from this episode. So thank you both, Dan and Jenna.
Yeah.
Oh, well, send me a friend request.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Go ahead and subscribe and we'll be able to find you.
Yeah. And you're welcome to, I don't accept all, but I accept most Facebook friend requests. If you want to find me, it's facebook.com/Ethan F. Micheal. I am less like, I know most people advise against this, but I'm more likely to accept friend invites because I just want to expose people to what I'm doing. So the more people, especially outside of the atheist community, that see what I'm doing, that gets my message out there more.
Keep in mind there is a maximum limit.
I know.
I'm almost there.
I was thinking about like, do I gotta start deleting people now?
Right. So it's like now I'm being a little bit pickier. So yes, friend request us each, and we will try to get there. Keep in touch.
I'm not only am I on your friend list, Jenna, but I actually shared a piece of my own art on your wall 10 minutes ago. So,
oh, nice, cool. I'll have to check it out.
So, I'm a writer, and I found a vehicle for my writing, which is to say, I make memes in the form of almost like cartoon strips. So,
oh, cool.
I am real quick. I'm gonna. Is your last name? Does your last name start with an H?
Yes, my full name is Daniel Hetman Spurger, but most of my followers know me as the God of Cities.
Okay, I didn't want to say your name out loud just in case you didn't want it said out loud. Here we go. Let me just make sure there's nothing. Okay.
I know it's a big unwieldy German name.
If we do not stop Donald Trump in 2020, there will be no federation. How do you intend to break into the White House, Spock? Leave that to me, Doctor. You sure no one will notice? This was just the standard clothing of the gym.
Wait, I missed it. You sure no one will notice us? This was a standard. Oh.
Awesome. All right, Dan, we gotta get to our next caller, but thank you so much. It was nice getting to talk to you, and hopefully I'll see you on Facebook soon. Actually, I'll just send you a friend request right now.
I very much appreciate that. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you so much for calling. Have a good one.
Man, this is a great day for callers.
Yeah.
Cool. Our next caller, it looks like, is it Philip? Are you there, Philip?
Hello. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You want to discuss the existence of? I'm not sure if that's the topic we're discussing today, love. Did you want to talk about mental health and art at all?
Oh, I'm here just to have a quick debate. I assume you are atheist.
Okay, so check this out. I always welcome debates and friendly conversations, but this specific platform on this channel is dedicated to mental health. Today's topic is mental health and art. It's not a channel for debating the existence of God. However, later today, Jenna Belk will be on AXP starting at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Definitely welcome to call in there. Every Tuesday, I host a show from 7 p.m. Central Time to about 9 p.m. where we cover supernatural, aliens, conspiracy theories. Either of those two platforms would be ideal for the God debate, but this one isn't it. But regardless, do appreciate you at least calling in.
Yeah. The phone number? Do you want the phone number?
Yeah.
It's 512.
I could send you an email and we could set up a debate later, if that's all good.
With who?
I don't know. Either one. I could debate you both. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm not a debater anymore. Like, that's just not my thing. I do like having friendly conversations. And like I said, you're welcome to call in and we can continue this discussion. But I don't typically get in the habit of debating people I don't know.
I typically don't debate either. I discuss. But again, if you call the show that I'm going to be on today, I know that Matt likes to debate, and I know that Eric and V on Talk Heathen can do a little bit of debate. So if you can call either one of those shows today, Talk Heathen will be on at 1, and
no Talk Heathen today, just AXP.
Oh, that's right, they pre-recorded today. Next week, call Talk Heathen, or today, call AXP. But the phone number, I'm just going to say it out loud, and if you don't have a pen, I hope you can rewind it. 512-991-9242. So go ahead.
Put that in the comments section, and then I'm putting the number for my show in the comments section as well.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. I mean, I'm sorry. Neither one of us like to debate. We like to discuss and share.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll just hang up. I'll try to remember the names you gave me earlier.
If you're watching the YouTube video right now by chance, I just put the information in the comment section.
There you go.
Okay. Well,
you got a bunch of people in the chat that want to debate you. So
yeah.
Sorry, say that again.
There are several people in the comment section who would be excited to debate you as well.
You're talking about like a formal debate, right? With like 10 minutes here and 10 minutes here, like a formal debate, correct? Or are you talking about just argue?
Well, my last debate lasted for 10 minutes. I aim for quick debates, quick victories.
All right, here. You know what? All right, I'll lay down the official challenge right now, and then we got to move on. Crap. What was your name? Sorry, Philip. Okay, Tuesday. I'm going live at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'll have my co-host Brainbug. If you can, call into that show, and we will be happy to discuss. I mean, I know people colloquially use the term debate, and if you don't mean like a formal one, just us going back and forth,
right? That we're cool with.
Topic of God, then yeah, I'm down. Yeah. Put it in your calendar. If you're available, I would be more than happy to take your call, and you can speak directly with me and my co-host on Tuesday.
Right. When you say debate, you're saying that you want a formal sit down, like organized.
No, just a discussion. It doesn't have to be a moderator.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Then both of us are open to that. If you could email us, Ethan's got his info in the description. I've got my info in the description. You can reach out to us, and we're interested. And you have plenty of takers in the chat as well.
Ooh, is this Philip Allman?
Yeah, Allman. No, I've got a YouTube channel.
Okay.
But look, I'll go and I'll try to interact with those in the chat.
If you could find me on Philip, if you could find me on Facebook, or if you're in the YouTube, I'll give you the Facebook link. Friend me, and then I'm more than happy to coordinate a time with you to call either my show or one of the show Jenna is on.
Yeah, thank you for calling us. Sorry about the confusion.
No, that's okay. All right. See you.
Have a good one.
All right, we got IQ.
By the way, I just like to say thank you. Like that caller was very pleasant, and it's always nice. Like when I saw the God topic, I was like, I hope this is not going to be some rude pre-sup like we had once before. But no, it was very polite, and and we're always open to talk the existence of God. But this is a safe haven for mental health, and that's what we would like to focus on.
And I just learned that I should really clarify
for a conversation.
Well, I just learned that I should really clarify when somebody says that they want to debate. I need to clarify what they mean by debate. So.
Oh yeah, that button-up suit and tie formal debate. It's a little dry. It doesn't address things. Everything very well. There's certain topics that it works well for and certain situations, but really it doesn't get down to the bottom. I mean, it's good for political ideals and stuff, but the God concept, just conversation. That's the best way to go, because that button up 10 minutes here, 5 minutes here. Okay, question, because there's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of interaction that happen in that formal debate. It's going to need to be 5 hours to be able to cover everything, and people are going to forget shit. You got to take notes. It's terrible.
And you never get to like the end.
Yeah, and I've actually used debate interchangeably with discussion for a long time, and it's a habit I'm trying to debate, because I'll still occasionally reach out to somebody like, "Hey, dude, you want to debate me on this topic?" And I'm like, "Sorry, not debate.
Chat with me."
It's such a, and to me, it can also be a trigger word, because when you set that, "Hey, we're going to debate," you are immediately putting that person psychologically in the defensive, and that's the last thing you want. If you want to change someone's mind, you want them to come to you open and ready to go.
But today we are talking about mental health and art.
Talking about God.
Well, we are atheists.
Trying to talk about a broader range of subjects here.
But we're here to talk about art, and that is beauty. But it's not always beauty. It's just perspective, right?
Correct. It doesn't have to make you feel happy.
That you were talking about, Ethan, because that has a lot to do with perspective. I totally agree with a famous artist that's just sitting there like, dot, and then he goes and drinks a latte and makes $1 million off of it. Bullshit. It's about the person looking at it. Can you see a leaf on the ground and just see a leaf on the ground? Or can you have a photographer that sees this leaf and sees its surrounding areas, and that emotion that is instilled in that snapshot, and sees it fluttering and sees it kind of alone in a big field, and the feelings that come from that, but it's just a fucking leaf on the ground. That's the same thing with the dot. It's what that dot feels like, because it's simplicity sometimes that gives it the most emotions. It doesn't really be complex. You can look at this blank canvas with this one single dot. Have you ever felt like that dot, Ethan or Jenna? This single dot in the middle of a blank canvas.
Yeah.
It's that simplicity that draws that feeling of either loneliness or freedom. And it's about interpretation. What do you see? What does it make you feel? Interpreting art isn't just looking at what it is. It's what it is to you.
Well, and also it could be just the amount of emotion that it created in Ethan. He hated that dot.
Frustration.
I was like, dude. And that's like, it's like, I don't want to.
You know what? It is just a fucking dot.
Right.
But you don't look at exactly what it is at face value, because that's exactly where art comes in. It's not looking at something at face value and looking at the surrounding areas. What's created this situation? What's around it? What happened? It's like almost telling a story, and you can do that with a dot. That's the power of the human mind. That's the power of, enlisting emotion in people, is that it uses their brain. It uses their entire person to feel the situation, because there's no language for emotion. You've got the several languages of love and all that stuff. But to me, that's almost in its own sense a form of art, because any observable expression of human emotion is what art is to me. And it could be anything, but it just takes the perspective of looking at it in a slightly different way, to see chaos in structure or structure in chaos. It's just a different perspective. And, me in perspective, we like peas and carrots. So that's my thing. I love art. I went to specific art high school, so I was around a lot of people I got immersed in a lot of different visual arts, music, walking down the halls here, you know, you hear this all the time, and you get to see a lot of it. So I got to experience a lot of the weird kids, you know, that are now probably writers or, you know, probably bankers, who knows, life's a bitch. But you get exposed to different people and the way people look at things, and just the amount of perspective that you're exposed to, and really opens you up to how much art you can perceive. So I can look at blobs and splashes on a canvas, and regardless if the artist was intending on just splashing paint on a canvas and selling it for $1 million because people will, it doesn't matter to me. I will not buy a dot on a canvas because I can make my own dot. But
I'm the
somebody
same.
will.
But again, it goes into like the different types of art we appreciate. Like I can appreciate visually stimulating art, but then there's things where I see it made and I'm just like, this, I don't get it, but someone does. So cool. As long as they appreciate it, that's important.
Let's look back at Gerard Richter. You know, that's the kind of art that I could see anybody being like, what? That's art? Like, come on. He just
really, I don't know. I'd say this, see, to me, this is, while I personally, let me get this on screen real quick. Well, I would personally never buy this. I think it's beautiful. Like that is
right. But I
gorgeous.
can see, what I'm saying though, is that I can see how somebody could think that there's no way that this is art. Because it's just, because it's not a painting of like a landscape or a pot or a child. You know, it's not structured at all. There's no straight lines. There's no curves. It's just splatters. And so I can see how somebody could be like, that's not art. That's just somebody just threw paint on the canvas and hoped that it would look fine. And maybe he did. And maybe he started out that way. Maybe. Right. But I love the way it looks, and I love the way it makes me feel.
The artist throwing the paint on the canvas. The art is the person looking at that splattered paint on the canvas. And what do you get from that? That's where the art kicks in.
Right.
So let me ask you both this, because so I've always, sorry, I shouldn't say always, but yeah, I guess you could say since I first saw that dot, not dark dot, there are certain times I see art, and I do genuinely think, okay, this artist is actually just screwing with people to see what they can buy. Particularly like when I see sometimes like some of their work and it's all these like beautiful things, and all of a sudden there's this just random thing. Like I know I shouldn't be thinking that, but it's hard for me not to think that sometimes artists want to see what they can get away with and what people will do. Because maybe. Yeah, and I'm not trying to assume someone's intent, but just going back to that dot, I cannot. Oh my God! Now I sound like I'm making a theistic argument.
Highly unlikely that an artist, that there has never been an artist that hasn't tried that.
Right.
Highly unlikely, because you know, come on, all I got to do is put a dot on a fucking page, or just get drunk as fuck and throw some paint.
But
and that's it.
But you have to actually do that. And the fact is that the fact that y'all are making it sound like it's absolutely ridiculous, neither of you would ever actually do that.
Right.
Well, here's the thing. I'm just saying that it's possible that an artist could go that route, and most likely have. But on the other hand, you have to think of somebody who has spent hundreds of hours on a painting and masterpieces, and then they start diving more and more into their brain and their emotions, and they get better at enlisting these emotions without spending so much time in it, because it's that simplicity that starts kicking in. Like, what do I feel? And then they start getting really, really, I guess, be the word, really intense with how they're expressing their emotions and how the human emotions work within them, that they just look at this, and what they feel is that dot or that splatter, and they're trying to express how they're feeling in more complex ways, but it's at the same time simple. So it can go both ways. The artist is either just getting lazy and they're just trolling people because they can make $1 million without having to spend hundreds of hours on something, or are they really taking a super deep dive into themselves and how they go about doing that?
I also wonder what else they had there, because if there's an artist who has a piece of artwork in a museum that is a black dot on a white canvas, then there's probably more pieces there that are somewhat similar.
Jenna.
Sorry?
Sorry. I had to say
I didn't hear you.
that's what I said. Why gotta be black, Jenna? I'm done with that.
Oh, whatever. But there's probably more pieces of art somewhere near it, right? The chances are that it's not a 10-year-old that just walked up and said, here's my canvas, here, sell this for $1 million. And they were like, okay. I mean, chances are this artist has some kind of a background, some kind of a history, some kind of name that they've built for themselves over time, because I doubt it started just with a black dot on a canvas.
It's true.
Oh yeah.
Let me ask
somebody
you
that's not known for their art. Chances are they're just somebody who feels nothing about it and just put a black dot on a canvas. But if somebody who's known for their expressions and knows for being able to make a masterpiece, and they can kind of understand that this person could be going that route, it's more likely. But really, at that point, you're just buying a name. It's like a Versace bag. It's really, yeah, I guess it could be high quality, some leather from some imported place, but it's really bragging rights. I have a Picasso, and Picasso's work is awesome, just, to pull a name out of the air. But they might not even appreciate the art. It's just so they can say they have a Picasso, so people can spend a ton of money on something just so they can say they have it. And they're not really appreciating or feeling the art whatsoever.
I want to real quick turn to this comment because I really enjoyed it. Art is frozen music. I've never thought about it like that, and I think it's a brilliant point.
I love it.
I have a question for IQ and Jenna. Do you think expression is art? And what I mean by that is, for example, like these obnoxious shirts I wear. I got this new one in. I love it. But I wear goofy shirts because I feel they are a reflection of who I am as a person. I am this loud, occasionally obnoxious, fun, playful
prankster
guy. And what was that?
I said prankster.
Prankster, yes. And I feel this this outfit or these clothes are the best way I can show the world the type of person I am, especially like if I'm just walking into a grocery store. I can't be goofy in a grocery store, but my look can be goofy and can make people, smile. So is that a form of art?
Yes. Don't even need to think about that. Yes.
Oh, well, okay.
Now clothes. I wake up in the morning, I throw on a pair of pants, a shirt. It just needs to be a shirt, and it needs to not smell or be dirty. Like that. That's not art. It's just clothes.
Right.
But you are expressing yourself. Like think of a tattoo. I mean, that's art. Though it's somebody that's taking the time to make something elaborate, and it doesn't really come off without surgery. That's art, right? And it's an expression.
And also,
it comes off real easy. But it's that you're expressing yourself. That's art, man.
And just to kind of add on to the clothing being art, so Ethan, you wear clothes that somewhat represent your personality.
Right.
I think back to the last time that I tried to tie my clothes to my personality. I was in junior high and going through this emo stage where I was a very happy, bubbly, goofy person. But I liked wearing really dark clothing and dark eyeliner and black wristbands and black nail polish and all that stuff because I loved throwing people off to their stereotypes. I loved that I didn't match my clothes, that so many people expect to see dark, just sullen people in black clothes when I was just this happy, goofy person wearing black clothes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that was a different kind of art.
Callers, I don't want to hold anybody else up if they're going to be sitting.
No, you're actually our last caller, IQ. But real quick, while everyone's here,
okay.
I do want to let everyone know that we do have a Patreon subscription in the description. The Patreon link in the description. And if you like what we're doing, consider donating for as little as $1 a month. We are going to be doing things very differently with our patrons. Some will obviously be going to expenses, but another portion, I believe we said 15%.
We said a percentage.
Okay. We'll say a percentage. At least 15% will be going to like recovering from religion. And then we're also going to be doing another percentage where we're giving back to the audience. So while we do have a few Patreons right now, it's not enough to actually donate to anybody, but that is our end goal. We want to give back to the community and the audience, whether it be giving away gift cards or buying stuff, anything like that, to help other people out, because this show is not just here for us. It's here for all of you. We want you involved in this in every way possible. Mental health is extremely important. And I think as atheists, we should be talking about it a lot more.
Heard.
Yeah. And if you in the comment section have any topics you want us to cover on mental health, like we already have a few good ones suggestions. Someone said mental health and creativity. There's a lot to go with that, because when I am low, I am not creative. Mental health in the elderly, mental health and seasonal affective disorder, mental health and parental fatigue. And while I'm not a parent, Jenna is, that may be something we need to get other parents involved in. So if there is something you think is important that you'd like us to talk about, please let us know. You can reach Jenna or I on Facebook. I am incredibly responsive. I don't know how I keep up with responding so much, but I do. So feel free to reach out. My DMs are always open, as long as you do not send me unsolicited nudes, because that has happened, and that my DMs are not open for that. Yeah.
Take advantage, because
well, no, don't take advantage.
Well, no. Sorry, of the fact that you're messaging back a lot, because I started out for a little while messaging back to everybody, and now I've got like about 1,000 ongoing conversations that every time I reply, somebody replies again. So it's like they never end. So eventually, you'll get a little bit weeded there.
It does. It actually gets really hard.
Yeah.
But so I always try and keep the conversations more minimally. But at the same time, since doing this show, a lot of people open up about mental health to me. So I know I can't be there for everyone, but I do everything in my power to respond to everyone. If I'm slow, or if I don't respond right away, please don't take it personal. But I do quite literally respond to everybody, and I will do my best to always continue to do that. Especially because like one person reached out to me, he's like, oh my God, I can't believe you actually replied. I'm like, why wouldn't I reply?
A lot of people say that. Yeah.
I'm gonna reply.
Well, because I don't know how many times I've messaged somebody, because like when I was just starting my learning phase, I think I messaged like Ellen, and I think I messaged like Sam Harris, and never expected to get a response, and never got a response. But then I started messaging people in this community and started getting responses, and it drew me to this community. I'm like, well, honest people who have the time, who make the time, and obviously care, because that's not something that's required. I'm similar in that I like to respond, and I like to keep these conversations going and all that. If I don't respond for like a couple months, message me again, because it'll bring your conversation back to the top of the list. Because I get to a certain point where I just stop scrolling down, and I lose quite a bit. So,
and for those that don't know, it can be exhausting, because you do get a lot of messages, because we're not just dealing with other content creators and setting up shows and setting up interviews. I'm constantly talking to the callers that call into my show. There are, a lot of messages involved, and at times it can be exhausting.
Sorry to keep you on this IQ. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
We're good. I would never say that to somebody. I can't believe you actually replied. I would say, why did you message me? Personally, I try to not talk to people that I don't think are going to respond to me.
Dude, I don't care. Honestly,
me not sending that somebody's going to even like talk back to me. I'm just not going to talk to them, because why bother?
Well,
if I
'cause
think it's unlikely
sometimes it's worth a
or
shot.
impossible that they're even going to respond to me.
Right.
If they were dead, I would find that amazing.
Well, I will real
But
quick.
That's for Tuesdays.
Real quick, IQ. I do want to actually. The first time I got an email reply from Jenna Belk, I wish I had it recorded because I remember I'm sitting here like I've not spoken to any atheist YouTubers. I'm this little nobody, and I get this email response from Jenna, and I literally was like, dude, and I went running to my brother. I'm like, dude, Jenna responded to me. Jenna responded. She wants to do the interview, and I was like running back and forth in the house, like, oh my God, I'm talking to Jenna Belk. Like, I can
imagine there was a slight octave shift.
Oh, so that's the thing. You can tell my level of excitement by the tone of my voice. So it's like, dude. Like when I first called in to talk Heathen and Eric answered the phone, I went, dude, Eric. Like, it's just my voice just goes right up when I get excited.
I think that's a pretty common thing. It's a pretty normal thing. I had no idea. That's funny.
I do wish I had it recorded because Jenna, you have made my mental health better.
Oh.
You gave me a chance, and I'm eternally grateful for that. And I do my best when other YouTubers reach out, as long as the conversation is right, to accept any interview or help I can, or help anyone I can.
Well, thank Eric for that, because when I was just getting started, which is around the time you reached out, I was nervous about people asking me on that I didn't know, because I didn't want to get like blasted somehow. And I was like, dude, what do you think? Like, should I go on people's podcasts that I don't know? And he's like, everyone. And I was like, okay. So I started going on everyone, and I'm glad that I do, because I get to meet people like you and help you in some way. And there's a couple other people that are just starting and real brand new, but they're already really good. And I'm just excited to watch them grow. And I don't know, it's fun. It's beneficial.
One of the things I have learned.
Appreciate somebody admiring your presence.
Yeah.
One of the things I have learned, though, is to ask more questions. For instance, when I was asked by Matt Powell to appear to do an interview, I didn't ask any questions. I didn't ask the name of the movie, nothing. I was just like, oh, cool, get to talk to a Christian, sure. Like, and that's where I have to be more careful and far more responsible. But I have this childlike excitement when like for so long, nobody wanted to talk to me about religion. Like I couldn't find anybody to talk to. So now when people actually want to talk to me, I'm like, okay, let's do this. Yes, someone to talk to.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's rewarding.
So, I'm done.
I'm so thankful for everybody in this community, whether you are a moderator or a crew member or a producer or a volunteer or just a viewer, or, even if you just share stuff on Facebook. Oh, I'm so appreciative, because everybody in this community is so supportive of each other, and I just love it.
Anyways, IQ, anything you want to close with? Because we actually have to wrap it up right here.
Nope. I'm just gonna let you guys wrap this thing up. I think that should about do it. I'll be back.
All right, sounds good, IQ. Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you, IQ. Thank you for calling again.
That call did not stay on topic. It just went everywhere.
You know what? Art is everywhere. Art is in this show because of how off it went. It was kind of an abstract conversation. I'm just trying here.
But it was fun. Jenna, I know you're going to be on AXP later today, beginning at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. What else do you have going on?
I have Atheistasis to be released again. I'll have a premiere on Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central. And then I have Carrot Noises at 3:30 p.m. Central on Friday. And every morning at 10 a.m. for 15 minutes, I live stream a meditation on my Genesis show on Twitch.
I have to get back to that.
I even if I didn't have anybody watching, I think just having this time and just this accountability helps me a lot. So I think I'm going to keep doing it. And so even if you just pop in here and there, I recommend coming and stopping by, because I think that it's helpful to have someone to keep you accountable.
Great. Well, I may have an interview later tonight. But I'm not going to say, because the last day we were going to do it, it got canceled because the person was not feeling well. So if it happens, it's going to be an exciting one. It's someone outside of the atheist community, which is awesome, which is exactly what I'm trying to do. I don't just want to talk to atheist or Christian YouTubers. I actually want to get people outside of the community involved, like reaching out to celebrities, voice actors, movie stars, getting them to start talking about these controversial topics, because that's the way we shine a gigantic light on atheism, is even getting other people outside of this that aren't involved, get mainstream attention on this topic as fast and as quickly as possible. That's my goal, because I think we've lived in the shadows, and we're still very small, we need to take this and go way bigger and expand and get more people involved. But anyways, that being said, Tuesday is my weekly call-in show called The Perspective, where people call in and we discuss supernatural claims, belief in aliens, and conspiracy theories. Recently, someone called and wanted to debunk evolution. We had another person who believed their mind was wiped by aliens. And one thing I've learned is I do enjoy talking to some of these people. And at times, some people refer to it, which frustrates me to no end, as mental illness. Did they get a hit to the head? Like, don't do that. Just because someone believes differently than you doesn't mean they're mentally ill. Thursdays is my weekly show with Hannah Vaughn, although we'll be off this Thursday. It's called The Pickup Line, where we discuss relationships, dating, sex. It's kind of like your break from atheism, where you can enjoy atheist content, but not have to stress with all the arguments for God or anything else. It's just a fun, playful show. And then the last thing I want to plug is February 4th, 2021 is going to be the year anniversary of my channel. And as a result of that, I am using it as an opportunity to raise money for recovering from religion. Currently, there are over 30 atheist and Christian YouTubers involved supporting the cause. And several of these people who have agreed are much bigger atheists than I am. And
Bigger than me.
Yes. So
We're there.
we have got a packed card. And I am going to go as far as to say, I don't think you've seen a stream with this many atheist YouTubers all in one of this capacity. So I am super excited, and I'm hoping everyone can join the cause and help us raise as much money for recovering from religion as possible. And even my Christian friends, they're in agreement, they want to help, and they're joining the fight. So hopefully we'll see you all there.
You should play the advertisement as we go out.
I wanted to play the advertisement, but there's still a couple errors I need to fix, and I want
darn
to it. I know. Trust me. The second, I can't wait to show people the video of the list of all the people involved, because I guarantee
it's
going to be jaw dropping.
I did.
So yeah.
And well, then real quick before we go, I just realized that Friday is Christmas Day, and that is the day that I'm going to be screaming carrot noises at 3:30. So I just realized, if everybody has Christmas plans and nobody's going to make it, I'm probably not going to stream. But if I have anybody, even just one person that can't get together with family because of the pandemic or something and wants to come and be there for my show, let me know and I'll be there. So.
And then one last thing, and then I promise we're going to sign off. I am only 13 subs away from monetization. Can you please find me 13 people to go subscribe to my channel right now? Because if you do, I could get monetized today. 13 subs. I'll put the link in the comments right now. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. Remember, your mental health is important. Take care of yourself. And also remember, one thing I did want to point out on this show is there are a lot of times we engage with people who disagree with us. When you're engaging with people who disagree with you, it's important that you factor in their mental health. and it can be easy to shut people down and yell at them, but there is a person on the other end of that screen, and it's important we remember that and do our best to hopefully engage in civil, fun, friendly dialogue while still reaching a truthful conclusion.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, everyone. I'm done. I rambled way too much.
Thanks, y'all.